Hi, as we call this meeting to order. We have a few commissioners to be that are on the phone, so we'll start on the screen first. So that's Donzel. Donzel, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you. Thank you. Yeah, my name is Donzel Brown. I'm Executive Director of EDGI and longtime commissioner. And I'm happy to be here and am really interested in today's meeting when it comes to the legislative agenda.
Alicia?
Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia Johnson. I am the Workforce Development Coordinator at Excellence and Ambition, and I'm super excited to hear more about this legislative process as well.
Amy, are there any other commissioners? Are there any other commissioners online?
Meredith. Oh, sorry about that. My name is Meredith Dioya. I work at University of Maryland, Baltimore, previously in their sustainability office and currently in project delivery and change management. And I'm happy to listen and learn. Thanks.
And then we'll start in the room.
Sure. Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Mia, for starting us off. And I want to send a huge dose of gratitude to all of our outgoing commissioners who last month provided us so much insight and feedback in terms of your experience and how we can improve. And really give a warm welcome to our new commissioners. My name is Ava Richardson. I am the Sustainability Director for the office, and so I have the pleasure of working with our amazing team on various climate and sustainability work across the city.
Good evening. My name is Morgan Grove, and I am a commissioner from the past and will be continuing on to the future.
Good evening. I'm Inez Robb. I've been a commissioner from its inception, I think. It's been a while. And I'm here just to share and help you guys to grow. And I'm all about community, transparency, engagement, encouragement, motivation, all of the above. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Erica Reeves. I use the she series pronouns. I am a public health practitioner focused on home and community-based service for older adults and people with disabilities. And I hope to become a commissioner. So thank you for having me today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Vito Casalgrande. I am the Social Impact and Sustainability Manager at LifeStraw, and I'm also hoping to become a commissioner soon. Nice to meet everyone.
Ben Roush, Mechanical and Fire Protection Engineer at FSI Engineers. Also hope to become a commissioner.
Fine. All right. Doing the long walk.
Hi, I'm Carly Hinton. I'm the Sustainability Manager at the School of Public Health at Johns Hopkins University, and I am also hoping to be a commission member. Look forward to working with you all.
I'm Lisa Ferretto. I'm the American Institute of Architects, and I'm here, another prospective commissioner, and my day job I work for Audubon, Baltimore Conservation.
Turn that on. I'm Jen Ayozo, also hoping to be a commissioner. My day job, I'm the chief of staff for the Maryland Energy Administration, and I'm delighted to be here.
Hey everyone, my name is Bernardo Barro, also prospective commissioner, currently working as policy analyst for a regulatory operating agency and previously was with the National Academy of Sciences in their sustainability
I am Tim Ford. I am Peter. My day job, I am a managing director for criminal operations for the Maryland Environmental Service. Looking forward to working with everyone here.
Sorry, we're trying to figure out why we're echoing.
Yeah.
We do not know why.
Why I'm on the screen.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, it's not. That's why we have IT support. Thanks, Anthony. You did it already.
We're doing staff. Okay, great. Hi, I'm Rachel Whitehart. I am the city's Forest Conservation Program Manager, and I work in the Office of Sustainability. And I'm going to pass it on to other staff in the office. I'm Amy Gilson. Here. I'm Amy Gilson. I'm a Sustainability Manager, and so I coordinate with the Commission on meetings and do various things to help with recommendations on sustainability.
Hi, everyone. Terrace King II, Executive Director of ACNOW Baltimore. I serve churches here in the city. Most importantly, I'm a kindergarten teacher by trade, craft, and serve on the environmental advisory council for the city. I'm a prospective, commissioner here, and that's
Sorry, I guess it's timely already. My name is Phil Costa. I'm the Deputy Director at the Baltimore Convention Center. And also on the finishing.
Good evening. My name is Grace Hansen. I am the Coastal Planner in the Office of Sustainability. So I manage development in the coastal floodplain as well as the Chesapeake Bay area, and am a member of our environmental permitting team.
I'm our Community Climate and Resiliency Planner for the Office of Sustainability.
I'm Emily Smith. I'm the Community Youth Engagement Coordinator for the Office of Sustainability.
I'm Valerie Root. I'm the Climate Resilience Program Manager for the Office of Sustainability.
Hello, I'm Jeff Oliver, the Weatherization, Energy Conservation, and Sustainable Structure Department, Department of Housing and Community Development in Baltimore City.
Hello.
Hello, my name is Ted, and I'm a fellow working with the Baltimore Office of Sustainability.
I think we went all the way around to everybody. So I just hope that everyone online could actually hear us with our intros. We have a little bit of business that we're going to do here. And then we'll get into the other parts of the agenda. I'm going to hand the microphone over to Jared to do roll call.
So, real quick roll call. I'll start with Mia Baum.
Present.
All right, I am present. Regina Boyce, Janot's here. Donzel Brown.
Present.
Online, present. Phil Costa. Lisa Ferretto. Morgan Grove. Nicolette Lucent.
She mentioned that she was going to join virtually. I don't see her name, so she might just be.
Okay. All right. Councilwoman Porter. Inez Robb.
Here.
Okay. Stephanie Smith.
She is not able to attend both sessions.
And Ben Zychek, I also have to say not present. Okay. All right. Next, I am going to send it back to Mia for the commission appointment process.
I think that's actually going to be Amy for the commission appointment process.
So I think if you go to the next slide, we have updates.
This works much smoother when we are all behind a computer screen.
You can see the chaos. So one of our announcements, we have our environmental offset program grants
The applications are currently open, and tomorrow there'll be a work session with our team to answer questions from applicants and help them with crafting their proposals. Rachel, did you have anything else that you want to say about that? Or?
No, I think that's good. I think just Monday closed meetings too.
Yeah, can't see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so myself and Grace Nansen are the two contacts for those grants, and they close Friday, January 9th. But if you have any questions, if you know anyone who'd be interested in applying, please direct them towards us. We're happy to answer questions, and there's this applicant work session that's sort of geared towards answering those sorts of questions. So, yep.
And then we're going to have Valerie, if you don't mind, providing an update just as far as restructuring the sub-cabinet and summer meeting and transfer.
Okay, so our sub-cabinet,
Yes. There we go. Unbutton. So our sustainability and resiliency subcabinet is an interagency group within looking at trying to advance the sustainability and climate action and DP3 plans. So one of the things we've done recently is change the in-person format. So we're actually holding those meetings in the city stat room and having different meetings, each meeting focused on a different priority topic. So we had our first one of that format in December, earlier this month, focused on extreme heat, ironically, because it is December, but, you know, looking forward. But putting some recommendations together in front of the CAO. We had some great participation, some great conversation, and, you know, really focused directions for moving forward. So we're really excited about the format. So we will be having those on various topics in the coming year, each from our working groups that we have funding and infrastructure, we have transportation, we have waste coming up, and then buildings and infrastructure, apologies. So those will be some of the ones that will be coming up for the new year. Those are in person. We're always happy to share any information or presentations with anyone. You know, and if anyone's ever interested in attending, I think that's something, you know, we can certainly help to orchestrate. So just get in touch with me if you'd like to.
Thanks. Slide. We already did roll call, so we can pass that. And then just updates on the city council confirmation process. Thank you all for your patience with that because there are pieces of that that are kind of out of our hands. But I was very happy to be able to provide the update that on Monday, city council, all of the folks in the room and the other folks who applied to become commission members who were then approved by the commission have been introduced as far as executive nominations. There are two pathways for how that might go from here to getting to confirmation. If the city council just doesn't take any additional action on those nominations for 3 meetings, then you're kind of automatically approved. And so that third meeting will be January 26th. The other kind of pathway is if the council would want to have a hearing of the Committee on Legislative Investigations, then that would happen. Folks would be asked to attend that in person. Phil and Morgan and Jared, I think, have gone through that process.
Really fun.
And so we will let you know if that happens, but the council hasn't been doing that for nominations recently, so we expect that it'll be the first pathway of just no action, and then we'll be able to let you know when the schedule will be for confirmation. And then I guess moving on to the, yeah, I'm going to sit down.
Your screen, I can't.
Oh, so couple of things, because we make some assumptions that you all are looking at Legistar for the council schedule and updates. So that is where you would actually find the agenda and see if you were on the agenda on Legistar. You all appeared on Monday's agenda, and so every Monday, that is where you'll look to see where the progress has been until it goes, if it does not go into committee.
And if anything changes, if there's anything to update, I will send communications to everyone to keep it updated.
So we just have a few things that we want to discuss before we get into the legislative update part. One is as we get ready to change co-chairs, we'll likely be looking at a regular meeting date change. Typically, the meeting has been the third Wednesday of the month with change with notification. And in July 1, it's going to change to the third Tuesday of the month, just so that everyone can start to block that on their calendars in July. And then you can see here on the screen, we're going to talk about I don't know who's running the screen, but what the themes are going to be for the upcoming year. So, and then all of this information we'll actually share with you. Amy will share it with you via email, just so that you know what we're looking at. But typically we have a cadence with a quarterly theme that is based on the existing plan, and then have monthly topics for that. And so since we are getting towards the legislative session, we typically have November, December getting ready for the legislative topic for the session that will start on January 14th. So I wanted to just take a moment for y'all to kind of soak this in, because we do not have handouts. So check your inbox for any updates there. Maybe we can make it bigger though. I don't know how we could do that. I am controlling. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, no.
I think that if you see up to the right, it says 100% underneath Meredith's name. I think the plus sign is there.
There we are. For those that need just a little. It's better. There we go.
Yeah, I think you are. Okay. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
What I needed to do.
There we go. And so know that you'll get this in your inbox as well, so that you can have an idea of how we're going to be moving forward as a body. And you might want to suggest people that you want to have featured, so that we can have conversations, robust conversations as a commission about some of that work. So I'm going to hand it over to Ava, I believe. So I'm talking about.
Okay. All right. Well, good evening again, everyone. And so we wanted to provide for all of our existing commissioners as well as new commissioners kind of a high-level overview of some of the strategic priorities for the office in 2026. And so Valerie had pulled some specific actions from our plans, including the climate action plan and our DP3, in terms of actions we want to really focus on to move forward. Some of those include actions to implement and monitor energy benchmarking across the city, creating a net zero plan for city operations, as well as creating a heat mitigation plan. And then for our DP3, our permitting team is working on a watershed master plan, and I think our watershed analyst, he did not get a chance to introduce himself. So Doug, if you do want to introduce yourself, go ahead.
I'm Doug Rowan. I'm very happy to be working here.
We received funding from the State Department of Natural Resources to support the creation of the city's first watershed master plan, which will cover 50% of the city's watersheds. And then we'll also be focusing on various waste and other goals that I'll get into more detail on. Just for the awareness of all the new commissioners, we have several citywide plans that we support the implementation of in the office. That includes the 2019 Sustainability Plan, our 2024 Climate Action Plan, the 2023 Disaster Preparedness Plan, a Solid Waste Management Plan, in addition to the city's comprehensive plan, many of which were updated in the past few years. Each of these plans have a very explicit goal and focus on equity in terms of how they are implemented. And I'm going to zip through some of these updates really quickly, just because I want to make sure we have time for discussion and for folks to ask questions. So as I mentioned, we'll be working on the watershed master plan. We'll also be supporting floodplain code as well as forest conservation code updates over the coming year. We'll also be focused on a lot of data research and tracking For the office, we have specific performance measures that we have to report on, and that includes our engagement, both with the general public as well as engagement with city staff to enhance climate literacy. And then we also track progress on the implementation of our various plans in terms of the number of actions that were completed or advanced. We'll also be doing updated greenhouse gas inventories. That helps us better understand the progress that we're making towards the city's carbon neutrality goals, and we'll be incorporating air quality in those future inventories. We do voluntary reporting as well as an office to various organizations, including the Carbon Disclosure Project, ACEEE, as well as the voluntary reporting for the city's Lead for Gold process, which Amy led. We talked a little bit about the Sustainability and Resiliency Subcabinet, and just for a little bit of background there, that was started at the beginning, that subcabinet was started at the beginning of Mayor Scott's term as a way to better uplift and set a more clear agenda for climate and sustainability or sustainability and resiliency work across the city. And so we have 6 thematic working groups under that subcabinet, which is a way that we push forward several types of initiatives. And we really want to dig deeper and kind of elevate specific recommendations to the administration as relates to these various bodies of work. And attending those meetings or sitting in on those briefings is a great way to get a better sense of kind of like the direction that the city is going in, and as well as kind of the additional steps or additional strategies we have to take to achieve certain goals. We'll be continuing our youth engagement work, including our work to connect church into nature, our youth leadership program, and our Green Schools grants, as well as continuing the work of the Middle Branch project that Natalie leads when it comes to facilitating certain fiscal and financing or grant management, as well as exploring new programs related to marine debris. We'll also continue our engagement with the Community Resiliency Hub programs that Erica and Valerie support, and have really kind of categorized each of our hubs into 4 specific types of sites that range from information centers into comprehensive activated sites. And so really acknowledging that different community resiliency hubs across the city, and just for a little bit of background on those, these are sites that serve as points of access for resources during and after disaster events across the city. And so we know that each site has a certain degree of capacity in terms of how it can be activated. And so we wanted to be cognizant of that in terms of when we're engaging with different site partners and what that means for activation. And we are working on getting solar and battery backup at 16 of those sites across the city through a FEMA grant. Be updating our website to be a better communication tool and vehicle to disseminate information as it relates to kind of like how people can engage in actions and behaviors that align with our work, but also ensuring that the information is more clearly organized. And we'll be doing 2 campaigns or engaging in work to support 2 different types of campaigns, one focused on waste diversion and one focused on kind of a second generation of the Baltimore Energy Challenge. In addition to that, we'll continue our engagement work. As I mentioned, our engagement goals are a big part of our performance measures across the city, and we'll be supporting the administration of several different grants, a few that I've mentioned, as well as looking for additional funding and supporting the grant programs that our permits team manages for environmental offset grants, which you heard about at the beginning of the meeting, and supporting funding for Green Schools grants up to $1,800. And so I'll pass it back to Mia to move us along.
I can cover this. So at the beginning of the meeting, we provided an update on the timing for the appointment of the next commission. And we also wanted to then share out some information. I'm going to let Nicolette in. She is one of our commissioners. But we wanted to provide kind of some, an overview of what folks can expect as far as orientation for that new commission and getting everybody ready to work together. So we will plan a session and some of the things that we will provide as far as information. We will go over kind of the commission's practices. So, or wait, can we go back to the previous slide? There was one before this. Oh, I guess go forward, something might have gotten moved. Is there one after this?
It's like the.
I can try to remember what it said. So one of the sets of things that we'll go over is kind of what are the official roles of the commission, kind of how is the commission established, what in the code are the commission's responsibilities, and how the commission works with the Office of Sustainability. And then also going through some of the requirements related to ethics overview. Once you are appointed, within 30 days, you'll have to fill out a financial disclosure, which is something that our staff also do. And I'll coordinate with you on when that is needed. We'll go over kind of, kind of the meeting format and what the process is for when the commission votes on different things. So those are all kind of the requirements to structure, also Open Meetings Act, so that folks understand what the requirements are around having the meetings open to the public. And then I'll speak to this slide, which is more internal as far as then how the commission will think about how you work together and advance sustainability in Baltimore. So talking about roles the commission has played in the past or might play in the future for advancing different work, and kind of what the commission's scope of influence is as far as who is the commission, what are the different audiences the commission influences. Also discussing those priority areas and topics, and kind of what interests the commission has, if there are certain requests as far as that integrating into the work in the meetings, if folks have ideas on that. Also then talking through, as we have those scheduled meetings, kind of what are the purposes of different meetings? Is it educating folks? Is it outreach? Is it oversight? Talking about how agendas are formed, deciding on locations. We've been doing virtual meetings for a long time, but in certain cases like today, we have done in-person components or site visits. We have our open house in June, and then talking about what are the types of things that the commission might be voting on at different points with meetings. And then also talking about, in the past, the commission has formed subcommittees or task forces on certain topics. So discussing kind of what, if the new commission would have certain interests and focuses to form those committees for separate work. And then also I've been putting together a commission survey, and I'll share that out. And before we send it out for folks to fill it out, I wanted to get some feedback on what do you want to know to then be able to think about how you want to work together, and what interests folks have. Next slide.
This is the last.
That's the last slide. And then I think the only other thing we had was we wanted to recognize the outgoing commission members. So I'll pass that over to Kate.
We're actually going to have Mia talk a little bit about the legislative session before we go into the recognitions.
Sorry, I'll actually have a mic on so that we can spread this mic out. Can you all hear me online and in the room? Okay, good. Yes. So in the past, this body has been able to vote independently of the administration and set an agenda that might run counter to what the administration has proposed, or what is sometimes even fiscally possible. That is a change that we will not be able to do that going forward, but we will be able to fully support the work of the office. We'll be able to have conversations around what it could look like to have expert opinion weighing in on issues that affect Baltimore. So I wanted to share that with everybody because that is a change a little bit in the structure of how the organization has been running to date, and a really positive change in how we're going to maybe take a look at structuring committees. And Ava's going to talk about that. And don't worry, you'll get these slides.
So as Mia mentioned, we want to be very conscious and cognizant about how and or if there's any position taken on particular state legislation, like to ensure that we coordinate with the administration on that. And so going into the new commission, we wanted to break commissioners out into these three committees. One focused on legislation, both city legislation as well as state legislation. From the city legislation perspective, it would really be focused on research and analysis and providing kind of like advice and recommendations. And then for state legislation, it would be providing either written or oral testimony on specific pieces of legislation if and when the Scott administration is supportive of that. The Events and Engagement Committee would really be supporting us in some of our goals to we have a goal to reach 85,000 unique engagements according to our performance measures, and that includes engagement with through our newsletter, our website, as well as folks that attend our commission meetings and other ways that we connect with folks across the city through our plan engagement and updates and other events that we attend. And then the last committee would be the Resource Development Committee. And that would be really focused on fundraising, looking at creative ways to bring in new resources to support some of the work across the city, and particularly our youth engagement work, which we know has a lot of funding challenges and gaps, and we want to be more strategic in the future about how we bring additional resources to that work. And this was out of the feedback that we heard from some of our outgoing commissioners, including Lisa and Ben and Inez, and we really wanted to ensure that we made the opportunities for commissioners to connect through the work, both through these committees as well as through engagement with our sub-cabinet, really significant. So you all had a sense of that you're connecting and understand what's going on within the office and actually have opportunities to influence that work as well. So we want to open things up for discussion and see if people have any questions about these committees as we've described them, or recommendations for other ways that commissioners, prospective commissioners or outgoing commissioners would like to continue to engage with the office. And if you need the mic, I'll bring it to you.
What I love is that everybody is just as enthusiastic and engaged in the room as you are online. So happy to know that it's not just, doesn't really just feel as awkward while on WebEx as, you know, like in person, but this is an opportunity. Donzel has his hand raised.
I just had a question on who, or how the potential committees.
Donzel, can you come up?
Yeah, can you unmute?
Can you hear me?
We can hear him online.
He's unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Speaker's turned down.
Hold on one moment.
Yeah, they just have people.
I'm not on WebEx.
Okay, I just had a question on.
Sorry. For those who are online, we might have to just put it in chat so that we can read what's.
So that everybody online can hear it.
My feedback on yours.
Yeah, I don't want to change that. What did Nicholas say?
The folks online can hear.
Okay. Okay, we can't in the room, so we're gonna have to, because I think.
We'll get our tech guy back.
Let's see what happens. Does that try again?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, yep.
Yeah. I just wanna thank you for the new potential input from committee leader or commissioners. But I wanted to know how the potential committees were formed, and is there like kind of some room for growth in some of these areas, or not growth in some of those areas? I don't know where these potential committees come from, and I would like to know that. I'm not trying to say that these are not good ideas. I think they're great ideas. I just want to know what the potential of these committees would be.
Can you mute him? Or then mute yeah, okay. All right, so we were discussing a little earlier in an internal meeting and a chair meeting, and we're deciding that I know last cycle of commission we had basically subject matter experts or opportunities for subject matter experts to discuss based on whatever the theme of that meeting was. And that worked for a little bit, but we decided to pull back a little bit and to a wider view of what the commission actually does and the function of the commission. So while they're not individual subject matter expert committees, for instance, the legislative committee is legislation is one of the larger functions of what the commission does to weigh in on it. And we have subject matter experts on the commission of various expertise. And there could, for instance, be subcommittees on transportation, the environment, in the legislative commission, in the legislative committee to offer different testimonies and things. Same thing with events and engagement. So we could have a subcommittee in that for the open house or a commissioner engagement meeting, so that they can be umbrellas that other subcommittees could potentially exist under. And that was one of the thoughts behind organizing it this way. Yeah, I know there are a couple, I see your hand. I know there are a couple of other people who have raised their hand in the chat, and then I'll try and keep the order going. I recognize you, John. Do you know what's next?
Is there anyone else? Let's see.
They got him turned.
Microphone check.
We hear you.
My name is Yamin, owner of Kingozi Farm Labor Contractors, and I'm not sure if I'm in the right meeting, but I'm extremely excited about February and the zero waste management. I'm certified through the Department of Agriculture for composting, and I am a member of the Farm Alliance of Baltimore. My question is the commission planning to revisit what the proposal of the Northeast Maryland Waste Disposal Authority brought forward as far as the request for proposals of organic drop-off bins for collection? And if so, could I be directed to the correct subcommittees pertaining to that issue?
Thank you so much, Mr. Yamin. Thank you so much, Mr. Yamin. I just wanted to clarify just the role of the commission, which is to serve as an oversight body for the Baltimore City's sustainability plan. But the work that you're referring to is led by our Waste Diversion Office in the Department of Public Works. And I'm happy to connect you with the Zero Waste Manager there. They are supporting currently, I believe, 7 drop-off locations for food scraps that include the residential drop-off centers that DPW manages, where you can drop off organics, in addition to some additional kind of like temporary sites that were opened through partnerships with local universities. But we're happy to share that list with you, and really glad to hear that you're interested in that subject, and can connect you to the team and DPW who is working directly on food waste reduction. Thank you so much again for your comment.
Oh, Jennifer had a question here. I'm not sure if there was somebody else who had a question before in the chat, so. Yeah, I think it was you.
So I just had a clarifying question, Jared, between something you said and something that Mia said. So for the legislative committee, what exactly would the role of the commission be if the commission is no longer, if I heard Mia correctly, no longer in a position that could take, say, a view or a position on a piece of legislation that did not adhere to the administration's position? So then what exactly is the role of the legislative committee?
Okay, so as subject matter experts, we would want to debate amongst ourselves and then advise internally, but externally, we would not be able to offer an opinion that's different from the administration. So I can let you guys expound on that. But let's say someone came as an example. You know, I don't want to get into specific examples. Step on the but let's say that we were just debating something and the administration wanted a different point of view, or you know, before they chose a position on the legislation, it will be the committee's or the commission's function to offer expertise or an opinion about that internally to the mayor's office or someone like that, and then if the mayor's office's opinion ultimately differed from that, then, you know, the commission would ultimately go along with it, but we would serve as the internal or some internal expertise and also community oversight, and just offer different perspectives on that, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And then in addition to that, there are some things within the purview of the work that we do as a commission where we know this aligns with the existing plans. So that is a piece of work that we absolutely continue and move forward with. And what I'm saying is not speaking for the administration or being definitive. I'm just making a generalized statement about how we might potentially move forward.
And just to clarify, that was in relation to state policy specifically. So when it comes to city council legislation, bills can still be referred to the commission as well as to the office to take specific positions. But for state legislation, you typically have to communicate as a single voice from the administration.
Okay, thank you for that clarity.
Thanks.
That's why it's so important to hear from community, not just us in this room. If you've gotten feedback, you've talked to communities all over the city and county, and you've done your homework, 9 times out of 10, you'll be heard. Not saying we'll change the mayor's position. However, that will give another side with some feedback and some data that helps. That's why it's so crucial. I always tell people, it's not about me, it's about us and the community. Get up from that desk and go out in the community all the time. I always say that. You can't do it from your computer. You need to get up from that desk, go out there and see what's really happening. Reality is one thing, theory is something else. And I'm gonna leave that alone, okay?
So are there any questions?
Hold on, some questions.
Yeah, we wanted some, Alicia has a question. Hold on, 1 minute. We need to make sure that we can hear you here.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Thank you. I had a question, kind of piggybacking off of the last statement. My prior role was community engagement specialist. I am located in District 7, and one thing that a lot of community members have raised as far as a concern is food access. My question is, as in the role of a commissioner on sustainability, is there opportunities for us as a city body to be able to acquire some vacant land to possibly have urban agriculture and also introduce to the schools and provide free food access for residents in the communities?
Thank you so much, Alicia, for that question. Definitely, we work really closely with our food policy and planning team in the planning department, and they lead and support a lot of that work, including engagement with growers across the city to advance urban agriculture, but also to support access to healthy foods and expand online SNAP. And they're also doing an initiative called Food RX, where like healthy foods or produce are being prescribed from healthcare providers to address various chronic disease conditions. And I think one of the things that we really have tried to do in the past is ensure that we're doing our due diligence and providing adequate briefings from various agencies and staff members across the city so that the commission is well informed about those efforts. And then again, through these 3 committees, we're hoping that the commissioners in each committee will help to advance that work in some meaningful way. And so if that means, expanding or helping to amplify work that our food policy and planning office is doing, as well as other work related to healthy food access, we definitely want to ensure that we are communicating ways that work can be amplified.
So
yes, I live in District 9, which is next door to District 7. And the main thing is that you've got to have a well-planned form for open space and food access, meaning we can't, it's always started, you have this great idea that we're going to do this, that, and the other. However, we have to have a maintenance plan. Who's going to maintain it? Who's going to sustain it? It's got to be community. Community's got to be a part of it. It can't always be just the city and someone else. They're going to do it. We've got to do it. So with that, food access is excellent. But however, let's think about that. You have to have a full, complete plan on how you're going to create it, maintain it, sustain it, and it works. Okay? Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
And I foresee something like your question being at least looked at or evaluated if we had a resource, or when we have the resource development committee, really to look at resources around to solve different problems. So we're gonna keep a pen in that and see as it goes forward. Just to have a place for these things to go. So that's a really great question. Where can resources like that come from? And I think that's a great opportunity for the committee to tackle, both with the community and people in the commission together.
There are 3 hands up online, so you want to call on those.
Were you able to see who went up first, Amy?
So I see hands for Denzel, Alicia, unless that's from before, and Yamin. Okay, Alicia's was from before.
Okay. Since I heard Donzel's name next, I'll go back to him.
Yeah, I just want to echo with what Inez mentioned. So with the committees,
Did we have to do something different last time? Yeah.
Hello?
There you go.
Okay. So as the potential committees are proposed, I think what Ms. Arnett is saying is that there is not a space for an individual to cross those committees. They're put into something that Baltimore complains about a lot is silos in engagement and silos in funding. I think that with the potential committees, it should be open that someone or some individual who's joining the commission can be part of multiple committees. And I think that a lot of the committees have a lot of overlap. So if we could present some type of, and I'm not offering any type of solution at this point, but some type of overlap, where like events are extremely connected to resource development. You to develop resources in the nonprofit space, in the community development space, you definitely need to have all the other elements be involved in a way that is not segregated, if you will. With organizations that are trying to get resource development, their resource development is based on their ability to put on events and their ability to develop community interest. It's a chicken and egg situation. It's not three separate eggs in my analysis of what we're seeing, in that sense of we have institutions in the city that have resources that provide resources for you. However, they tell you, well, like, show me what your events are, what your outreach is. And, well, I can't do the outreach if I don't have the resources. So it's a chicken and egg situation and those things. And then you pile on the top level, the resource development on the legislative, or the legislative area. The legislators are going to ask, what are you doing in the community? And then you go back to the legislators. It's like, well, I don't have the resources to do all the things that I want to do in the community. I can do everything in the community, but I have not resources and I don't have the events to prove to you that we can perform. Where, like, Miss Inez and others in this group, that's where sustainability really, the rubber meets the road there. So I'm not supportive of committees that are independent if they're not working together in some formulaic way.
So I'd like to give a little context, I think, which is that the idea of these three committees comes from a question to the Sustainability Office as to what committees would be helpful. And so these are the three committees that have come up. I think to give a sense of the origin. Second, it's my understanding that if you want to be on more than one committee, you can.
Probably encouraged, right?
Probably encouraged. I think the fear is more that people don't join committees. And then finally, I'm sure that there would be openness to, if there's a feeling that there's some type of activity that's missing, that could be formulated as a committee, that could be discussed. But we're starting with initially, what would be three committees that would be helpful to the office that would benefit from the engagement of this commission? So that's, I think, the context for these ideas, and how they could proceed.
Oh my gosh. I'm just going to back up that I don't think these committees were created to be in silos. All of the new commissioners, you guys all have your expertise. So the question about the food access. In January, February, what are the legislative issues you guys could be working on that? When we have the open house, how do you engage and talk about that? resource development. Ina's point, how do you help a community develop a maintenance plan that they can stick to? So you still have your expertise. So you could look at it like, okay, I'm gonna focus on this, Ben's gonna focus on buildings and energy. Okay, he's gonna be active in legislative, he's gonna be active at this, we can talk about this at the open house. And how do we actually give the people the tools that they need in the city? So I think this is just one way to look at it this way, you can look at it this way. It's just a way to, I think, to help the commission stay organized. And I wasn't in the committee that developed these plans, but I could see it makes sense to kind of talk, these are kind of the actions that the committee does. And then if you intersect that with your expertise, that's how I think you guys will work.
Yeah.
Something really quick. Since I'm holding the microphone. Definitely can see how useful each of these three committees would be. Was there any kind of thought, or is it open for discussion what the process would be for joining the committees?
Glad you asked.
Yeah.
And is there dibs? Because
So we have a survey. I'm not exactly sure how the survey is going to work at this very moment. Amy might know a little bit more.
So I have a Google form that I have started, but part of why I have set it out is I wanted to hear the discussion from the commission as far as if there are other ideas on how you want to work together, how you want to set your priorities, information that you want to get from each other about kind of who has what expertise and experience. And so I'll share out what is in the survey so far and get feedback on what else you want to know. And one of the things that we'll add to that is interest in different committees as far as if folks want to be in more than one, or if you have priorities, or kind of it doesn't matter, you want to help wherever help is needed. So we'll take that feedback, and then when we meet for kind of the onboarding and orientation and collectively discussing how the commission will work together, that information will be provided in advance so that you can kind of look at that and be prepared to discuss with that information, kind of setting up the commission's priorities and how you want to work together.
You got the mic.
So I have a question, and it's not about the committees. Ava, I believe when you were doing your overview, you mentioned that the Office of Sustainability is going to be doing some watershed planning work, but you said for 50% of the city's watersheds. So I'm curious to know which 50%, and maybe if there's a little more information, because that's an area that I'm particularly interested in.
I'm gonna pass that to Grace.
Hello, I'm Grace Hansen, the coastal planner. So Doug and I are working very closely together.
Grace, sorry, 1 second.
So you're the
So just a quick point of order here. We are going to have a briefing from the office, which will be a part of our closed session. So if we can hold that, because we'll have an opportunity to have some, just to hear all the things that are happening. And we can move our seats and have like a halftime. Gotcha. So Grace.
Yes.
Hold on.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I was going to ask, part of our application is short bios. Can you assemble those, somebody assemble those, and so that we people, and then that'll help 3 steps beyond getting to know what other people are about.
Oh, and here's the old people.
Yeah, I'd like to know, like, at large.
It's a great idea.
I have a clarifying question as well, about the committees. I know purely based on like the commission website that part of the role of the commission is to oversee the implementation of the sustainability plan. So I'm wondering if you could give like a little bit of context as to how the committees will help with that oversight.
We don't know what the mic is. And if they can hear us on, that's the only reason why.
Yes, so thank you for that question. Just to provide a little bit more background, going back to our meeting last month. we heard from our outgoing commissioners that there was a lot of value in previous committees that had been set up within the Sustainability Commission. And those were committees that were very thematically focused. They're focused on certain topics such as waste, transportation, or other climate and sustainability topics. And currently, we have some of those topics that we work on to move forward specific actions within our plans under the Sustainability and Resiliency Subcabinet, which is an internal entity. And so you heard Valerie say a little bit about that at the beginning of the meeting. That particular subcabinet has 6 working groups that include topics ranging from buildings and energy, waste, flooding and infrastructure. And so that is kind of like our internal oversight vehicle, or kind of like implementation vehicle, where we're driving actions. And then the way that we have the quarterly or the monthly themes set up for the commission, we're providing routine briefings on those. So the first 3 months of the year will be focused on environmental regulations and legislation, where we'll be providing briefings to the commission on the watershed master plan. That'll include how we're moving forward specific actions within the disaster preparedness and planning project. And while in the code, the commission has specific oversight over the sustainability plan, but that plan or actions in our sustainability plan call for other actions to move forward, such as updating the climate action plan and updating our disaster preparedness plan. And I'm sorry, I'm talking about so many plans, but that is really how so much of our work is framed. Amy mentioned the orientation process, and so we do want to make sure we acclimate all the commissioners to those plans and give you more detailed briefings on that. That'll be as we move forward in the themes for each of the monthly meetings. There will be opportunities to raise questions. For these specific committees, the legislative committee will be kind of like one of the key ways that committee, given that we want the commission to be empowered to be able to release legislative recommendations that relate to specific policy actions in our plans, because we know that's going to be a really important strategy to move forward specific progress, especially when it comes to energy policy or waste. A lot of that has to be legislative mandated. And so, and then for the other pieces related to engagement, as I mentioned, that specific, we have specific engagement performance measures related to our internal city engagement as well as external engagement with the public. And then the funding and financing piece, it doesn't relate to a specific oversight connection, but it does relate to just having the resources to actually pursue some of the actions in our plans that we don't have currently within our budget, or we don't currently have committed grant funds for.
David, can I add to that? I'm loud. I can just project.
The issue is that people online can't hear you.
All right.
Okay, so this is just hearing your question. I think one of the biggest assets of the commission is the subject matter expertise that you all possess and bring to the table. And so I would like to and envision these different committees as folks volunteer to fill the committees that they're most interested in. And, as your expertise arises and self-interest arises, there are so many opportunities to make connections to the sustainability plan. If it's food access, if it's equitable transportation, if it's, forest conservation, whatever it may be. There's how many plans or how many actions in the sustainability plan?
In all the sustainability, the climate action, TD 30, and some zero waste portions, solid waste management plan, there's
624 actions that could be pursued. So I think it's just, really up to the committees to work with our office and to identify priority projects to uplift.
I think it could be very helpful for onboarding as well as the existing commissioners to have an idea of who the different staff are who are associated with the different parts of the plan so that one can be more actively engaging. with this rather than trying to guess. Okay, here's the plan, who's the person, right? So that could be a way to be also proactive, because you all have, as has been mentioned, expertise in certain subject areas, and that relates also to legislation, engagement, as well as resources that may be available to implement those activities.
So it sounds like we're getting ready to roll right into our briefing. So I'm going to let Ava do that, and then I'm going to do the recognition part, and then we'll just go into the briefing portion.
Okay, great. I really want to thank and appreciate and acknowledge all of our commissioners who are transitioning off. And we do have a small token of appreciation for everyone for your service, compliments of Camp Small. And so I'll start with the folks that are online. So this sustainable, renewable, and upcycled token of appreciation is presented to Donzel Brown for his 8 years of service to Baltimore City's Commission on Sustainability, dedicated to uplifting the work of the Commission, the office, and ongoing commitment to advancing a more sustainable, equitable, and resilient Baltimore. The Office of Sustainability and the Planning Department, thank you sincerely for your service. You will be missed, but your impact to Baltimore City will continue for decades to come. Thank you so much, Donzel.
Thank you, it's been an honor.
And I don't think we have anyone else online. Everyone else is in the room, I believe. So next, I want to thank Miss Inez, our, I think the longest serving member that we are acknowledging today, for your 10 years of service to Baltimore City's Commission on Sustainability, dedicated to uplifting the work of the Commission in the office and your ongoing commitment to advancing a more sustainable, equitable, and resilient city. You will be missed, but we know your impact will live on. And thank you so much for always keeping us grounded and anchored to the community. That is a constant reminder that we need, and I really thank and appreciate you for always lifting that up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for everything, for having the opportunity to share my lived experiences along with being equitable, creative, encouraging, involved, and most of all, committed. If you're not committed, you don't even want to be on it. Got whatever the team or the group you're with or what have you, be committed to it. If not, then leave it alone. This is not the time for you. I just want to leave with that. Thank you.
And then we have Lisa Ferretto, who we want to acknowledge for your 8 years of service, to your dedication of uplifting the work of the office and the commission, and your ongoing commitment to making Baltimore more sustainable, equitable, and resilient. And I'm sorry to keep repeating this. But Lisa, we really have appreciated all the time you spend when it came to our climate action plan engagement and your insights, particularly as it relates to the energy sector. I think you really serve such a great value to our technical advisory committee and ensure that we help to strengthen the actions in the plan itself. So, thank you.
It's been an honor to serve.
Thank you. All right. And Ms. Blum, we really appreciate your service to the commission as the co-chair and how dedicated you have been and for hosting us this evening, but for your 6 years of service to Baltimore's Commission on Sustainability. The office and the planning department thank you sincerely for your service. Your contributions have made Baltimore certainly a more robust city as it relates to our climate and sustainability work. And you have, since your time coming from the Planning Academy to leading the commission, have really kept us anchored and moving along. And we deeply, deeply appreciate your time and service and dedication. Thank you so much, Mia. I really have appreciated working with you.
So I'm sure you all are wondering why you're here at Visit Baltimore. You all might know, for those that have worked with me for a while, especially Phil, who is from my partner at the convention center. Visit Baltimore is the official sales and marketing organization for the city of Baltimore. And in 2024 alone, we saw over 28 million visitors come through. And that feeds into the ecotourism, into the local economy, and all of the things that are in the sustainability plan under the local economy. And so during my time here, I've made sure that we're looking at sustainable. We have a convention center that has great sustainability measures in place. And so one of our most impactful in-person meetings has been at the convention center, making great beeswax candles from the bees that live on the roof. They have great practices that are in place there. We have event planners that are certified through the, I don't know what EIC stands for. Let me think about this.
Industry Council.
The Events Industry Council, I should know that, but you know. And then we've been really leaning into workforce. The tourism hospitality is in the top 10 industries here in Baltimore. And so it is important for us to ensure that that is a sustainable industry overall, because we have some amazing assets here in Baltimore. This office here, many of the assets that you will see here are Baltimore treasures. Right behind us, we have some of those great benches that you see at the bus stops. So I'm happy to welcome you all here. We're going to move into a closed briefing session and shut down our online portion of the meeting so that we can brief. So thank you all for being here and looking forward to the next work. Thank you.